How's it going, everybody? This is Elijah Reyes yet again with our next part to our Intro to Python series. Now, previously in part 4.1, we created a very basic login app via the console. We got username and password input, and then we checked the lengths of both strings, and we told the user if they were good or not. If they were good, then we just moved on. We broke the while loop and just moved on to the print statement. If they weren't good, we didn't break anything. The while loop automatically goes back to the top and starts all over again. We want to scale this. We want to make it a little more intuitive, a little more interactive, and provide more feedback to the user, give the user more options. But in order to get there, we need to understand functions. And now functions are methods. You'll hear uh, about methods in Java and other languages. In Python, they're called functions. They serve the same purpose. It's basically something in your program that takes what are called arguments. Those arguments can be many different things. We're not going to get into all that today. We're going to go and focus on strings and integers as we've done in the past. And the function is supposed to basically do something for you. So instead of having your code do this, having redundant code where your code does the same thing over and over again, and you have to constantly rewrite that code, we create a function to perform the same kind of task we want. So here I'm going to define a addition function. And the way we do that is using def, def, that's built into Python, def, and then the name of the function. So say add numbers. And we have to use a open and close parenthesis. And we're going to take in two values, let's say x and y. Now these values x and y, the variables don't have to specifically be x and y. These are just placeholders, meaning that something has to go in this spot, something has to go in that spot. And if we want to get a result from our functions, we have to use a return statement, also built into Python. And we're going to return x plus y. Get the result of adding two values. So I'm not going to declare any variables here. I'm just going to say print add numbers 1 and 2. So if you understand what I've been talking about at this point, we're calling our add numbers function, and Sublime even highlights it for you when we highlight it down here, and we're passing in 1 as the x value, and we're passing in 2 as the y value. So once our numbers have been passed to the function will then return x plus y, in this case 1 plus 2. And let's see that in action real fast. So Control or Command S to save, Control Command B to execute, and we get the return value 3, which is in fact 1 plus 2. So let's make this a little more complex and say x, y, and z. And you can pass as many arguments or values to a function as you want. We just got to make sure that we pass what is required for the function. So I need to pass 3 values for our add numbers function. If I pass in just 2 values as I have here, I'm going to get an error. So as you see, the error here in this case is type error add numbers missing one required positional argument, z. So it's telling me that for our z value, I didn't pass anything. And evidently I didn't, because I only passed in these 2. Now if I add another value, let's say 1, save the file, execute. Oh, I get 3 because I forgot to return x plus y plus z. So I just want to return x plus y plus z, and that should give me the new result of 4. So we got 3 on the last round because I forgot to add this plus z here. But now that I added plus z, it did in fact include the 1 in the addition here. So let's create just one more function. We don't have to do anything too advanced for us to expand our basic login app. I'm going to define a multiplication and addition function. So I'm just going to call it multi and add x, y, z. And again, you can call these anything you want. You can call them my first value, my second value, Will Ferrell. I don't know if I spelled his name right, but you could pass anything you want. So I want to return my first value plus my second value, all multiplied by Will Ferrell. Let's comment this out. Get the result of adding 2 values and multiplying by the third value. So Python understands PEMDAS, which is the order of operations in math. So it will in fact uh, execute my second value times Will Ferrell first, and then adding my first value. Unless you're, and this is actually incorrect, of adding, I'm just going to say adding and multiplying. So I'm going to print, what was I saying before? Unless you're really focused on mathematics, you don't have to exactly know this, but if you're at least in the 5th grade, you should definitely know this. I'm surprised to know people uh, 10 years older than me and they still don't know this. So print, and we want to call our multi and add function. I'm going to pass a 10, a 20, and a 5. So we should expect for my second value to be multiplied by Will Ferrell first. So that's 20 times 5, that's 100. And then this result will be added to my first value. So 20 times 5 is 100, plus 10 is 110. And there we go. Python does, again, like I said, understand PEMDAS as it is, and we get the result of 110. And we're going to make one more function. This function is going to be string related. Fine. And what we're going to have what we're going to have this do is what is called concatenating strings. So basically, taking one string and adding it to another to make one giant string. And I don't know if I spelled concat right, but I don't really care about that. Just gonna call it add strings. String 1, string 2, and we're going to return string 1 plus string 2. Now I know in the previous tutorials we didn't look at actually adding two string variables, but what this is actually going to do is take the first string, let's just say that string is okay, and then adding it to the second string, and the result is going to be okay by just like that. No spaces in between the strings, just one string together. We're going to get the result of adding, not really adding, but concatenating two strings. So print, call our function add strings. I'm going to make our first string I am, and I'm going to throw a space in there just so we can get a clear spacing. I am, let's just say hungry. And I'm going to save and execute. So I get I am hungry as a result. So the first argument that I'm passing is I am space, and that's going to go into string 1. And the second argument is hungry exclamation point, and that's going to go into string 2. And then we are returning string 1, string 2, which is going to join these two strings together. All right, that's going to be it for methods. Just very basic understanding of methods, and we're going to take what we've learned here and apply it to our basic login program. Thank you for your time. I look forward to